you out there. When I first heard of Project Self-Sufficiency, I was the mother of a 6-month-old baby, working full-time and taking 18 credits at CSU. I was encouraged to apply for the program by my nurse in the Nurse-Family Partnership. After applying, I was invited to attend the orientation with about 6 other potential applicants. I knew afterwards that I would not be selected to the one open space that was available because I felt that those other women so obviously needed the help more than I did. When I was selected, I remember telling my advisor, Nicole, how shocked I was to be admitted into the program, since clearly those women could have benefited more than I could. She responded that she felt like I was treading water, and one small thing could take me under. She could see how hard I was working to stay afloat and wanted to throw me a life vest. Those words have stuck with me until today. She could not have been more right. I took great pride in my independence, almost to a fault, and felt like I had everything in my life under control. But as I spoke with her about my life and my daily schedule and my budget, I realized just how much I was struggling, just to barely survive each day. Because I worked 40 hours each week and was taking a full course load at school, my daughter was in daycare 6 days a week, sometimes for as long as 10 or 12 hours a day. I was lucky if I got to spend an hour each day with her. My grades were mediocre at best as I struggled to make time to study. My job, while fulfilling, was extremely emotionally draining, and it didn't leave me with a lot of energy left for anything else. After a couple of meetings with my advisor, we realized several opportunities for improvement in my life to lessen some of the stress and hopefully increase my chances for success. One of the biggest obstacles I faced was my budget. I had a tremendous amount of student loan debt already, and Nicole and I agreed it was an important goal to not accept any more loans. We looked at ways to reduce my living expenses so I could not only reduce or completely avoid more student loans, but also cut back the number of hours that I was working. My biggest expense at the time was my car. With the payment, the gas, and insurance, I was spending almost $1,000 a month on just my car, more than I paid in rent at the time. PSS was able to locate a local dealership that would buy my car from me for the amount that would pay off the remainder of my loan. Not only that, Nicole recommended me for the donated car from Huska Automotive, which I was selected to receive, and that helped me instantly reduce my living expenses by almost half each month. And I'm still driving that car today, 4 years later. Nicole was able to help me locate a daycare that had a sliding scale fee, which meant that the child care scholarship that I had through PSS covered my entire daycare expense. My kids still go there, it's a wonderful daycare. Nicole worked really hard to find numerous scholarships that I was eligible for and wrote a lot of letters of recommendation for me. With her help and hours spent filling out applications and writing personal statement essays, I was able to secure scholarships, including the Foothills Rotary, the PEO, and the WISP. These scholarships helped immensely because they were renewable, which meant that I received them each semester I was in school until I graduated without having to reapply. Because Nicole and I were such an unstoppable scholarship team, I was able to stop working completely and did not have to take out a single student loan for the remaining 2 years of school. These were major factors in my ability to successfully obtain my degree. As a parent, my full-time job is parenting, and to not have to have another full-time job on top of that allowed me to finish my final years of school extremely successfully. The next hurdle that Nicole and I faced together was my choice of a major. It had always been my dream to go to veterinary school. I chose to move to Colorado and attend CSU specifically for their equine science program, with plans to apply to the CSU vet school, get accepted, and live happily ever after. I had never heard myself described as pragmatic until I met Nicole, but it couldn't be more correct. I really appreciate honesty, and I prefer to look at things realistically. If any of you know anything about the horse industry, it isn't really known for offering opportunities for stability and earning a living wage. Nicole gently encouraged me to explore other majors, ones that would allow me not only to fulfill veterinary school requirements, because she knew how important that goal was to me, but also to allow me to have a lot of opportunities to be employable and earn a wage that would allow me to support myself and my family. I could see the obvious logic in that, and determined that wildlife biology or microbiology could potentially meet these new requirements I had. Nicole was able to connect me with people that were currently working in those fields. I was able to find out from them what they did each day in their line of work, what their personal educational paths looked like, earning potential in their fields, career advancement opportunities, and I learned if the field was a growing one, which is important when you want to have a secure job. Through this invaluable research, I discovered that not only was I in love with all things microbiology, but that I was able to very easily transition into that major without losing any of the credits I had already acquired. My relationship with Nicole on Project Self-Sufficiency was so successful that in a relatively short time, I was able to reduce my living expenses and obtain enough scholarships to completely stop working in order to focus on building and nurturing a relationship with my daughter and attending school full-time. I was also able to find a field of study that not only did I absolutely love, but that would allow me to be able to support myself and my family and would meet veterinary school requirements if I decided to continue to pursue that path. As I started my last year of school, I began to look at job openings that were out there at the time and realized that I would be much more employable if I could obtain some experience in the field. Nicole agreed that an internship or work in a lab on campus would greatly benefit me upon graduation. Nicole and I were able to arrange my schedule so that the last semester had a much lighter class load, allowing me a few extra hours a week to work. She quickly got to work and enrolled me in a new program that PSS had started, which helped participants write resumes and practice job interviews. I met with this committee a couple of times. They offered invaluable advice to improve my resume and helped me with mock interviews, offering tips and pointers where necessary. One of the members on the committee happened to know a CSU professor who had a research lab on campus. He connected me with her, and within a couple of weeks I had a paid position in her lab, assisting with her research. After graduating, I was able to stay on at that lab, which supplied me with an income while I searched for a permanent job. Just a few weeks after I graduated with my degree in microbiology, Nicole contacted me to let me know that a local microbiology lab, whose owners were active with PSS, had an opening and she'd like to send them my resume. I was contacted for an interview and a second interview, both of which I felt extremely well prepared for after all of my prepping with PSS, and I was offered the position. After over a year and a half, I still work there, and I'm lucky enough to not only love going to work every day, but to actually work and earn a living wage in the field in which I went to school for, which I think is unfortunately rare these days. I think sometimes all that you need to be successful is to have someone believe in you and someone to remind you that you can be successful. And PSS not only connected me with all of those invaluable physical resources I just told you about, but they were also a place of support, comfort, a shoulder to cry on, and a cheering section. As a single parent, it's very easy to forget about yourself and be so focused on just surviving each day. It's so easy to forget how much that extra helping hand, that hug, or that word of encouragement can really just turn everything around. Project Self-Sufficiency has created such a special environment that encourages success, nurtures success, and is able to provide every kind of support needed for someone to achieve that, whether tangible or intangible. I don't know where I would be today if it weren't for Project Self-Sufficiency, but I know it wouldn't be here telling you about all of my successes. So thank you.